Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is Syazwana, Najwa, representing Group 2. I'm going to deliver about topic 1 based on the poster prepared by my groupmate, UMMI HANNAN. Let's get started. Did you know what is concrete? Concrete is a structural material made up of chemically hard inert particle material known as aggregate, which is typically sand and gravel. Water and cement hold these materials together. The content and material for making concrete is a paste of cement 10 to 50%, water 15 to 20%, and mixed with aggregates 65 to 75%. Aggregates can be seen as sand and gravel or crushed stone. There are 3 types of cement, which are Portland cement, masonry cement mix, and mortar cement mix. Portland cement is a material that is commonly used in the production of concrete that works similarly to a strong glue. Second is masonry cement mix that combines gravel and sand with water to form a strong bond. Third is mortar cement concrete that is commonly used to lay brick and stone, only suitable for ornamental facade. Every concrete has to go through a certain process before it can be used. The process is called as curing concrete. Okay, now what is curing concrete? Curing is the process of preventing moisture loss in the slab so that the concrete continues to gain strength. Concrete requires moisture retention and desired temperature conditions. A consistent temperature should be maintained throughout the depth of the concrete section to avoid thermal shrinkage crack. In other words, curing is the process of protecting concrete from internal moisture loss while also accelerating the hydration reaction to achieve the required strength in a shorter period of time. A variety of factors can affect the drying time of concrete. Some of these include moisture, temperature, and mix design. Concrete typically takes 24 to 48 hours to dry sufficiently for walking or driving on. Concrete drying, on the other hand, is a continuous and fluid event that usually takes about 28 days to reach its full effective strength. That is importance of curing. Since the curing process is unavoidable in any situation, there must be some importance to it. Firstly, curing is very important for maintaining mixing water in concrete during early hardening process. Freshly mixed concrete normally contains more water than is required for hydration of the cement. This process can be done in a few ways such as ponding and immersion, spraying and fogging, saturated wet covering, and left in place form. More time may be needed for curing when concrete temperatures are lower. Secondly, curing is very important for preventing the loss of moisture from the surface of the concrete. Excessive loss of water by evaporation can delay or prevent adequate hydration, especially in the surface of the slab. Careful control of moisture and temperature of the in-situ concrete during curing is an essential part of quality control. Curing of concrete should occur as soon as it has been placed by covering concrete with impervious paper or plastic sheets and applying membrane-forming curing compounds. It is also essential that continuous monitoring of concrete curing conditions be carried out for 7 days. Lastly, curing is very important for accelerating strength gain using heat and additional moisture. Evaporated water from the concrete before it has attained its maximum strength will be difficult to achieve maximum compressive strength. This is especially during weather conditions. Heated enclosure, evaporation reducer, curing ingredients, and insulating blankets are some of the techniques used in cold weather. For hot weather, concrete installation, sunscreen, windscreen, fogging, and evaporation retardants can be applied. There are diagrams provided in the poster. You can see the diagram in the poster that related to my explanation. That's all about the curing concrete and the importance of curing from me. I will pass the next presentation to my groupmate NURUL IZZAH to continue about method of curing concrete.
Assalamualaikum and hi everyone, my name is NURUL IZZAH. I representing group 2. I'm going to deliver about the 5 method of curing concrete based on the poster. Curing concrete is done after the finishing process is complete. Curing concrete is very important to achieve full strength on the concrete or cement surface. For ensure the strength and durability of concrete is guaranteed, curing of concrete must be done with proper method. So here I list 5 methods of curing concrete. So firstly is bonding curing. Bonding curing is the common method that used for curing concrete. Bonding is typically used to cure flat surface such as floor, slab, and pavement. Bonding functions to prevent loss of moisture from the concrete, and it is also effective for maintaining a uniform of temperature throughout the concrete. In bonding method, initially the concrete surface will be covered with a moist wrap for 24 hours. Next, the cover will be removed and a small puddle of clay will be poured around all the area, and then water will be filled for final curing. Second method of curing concrete is covering the surface. In this method, the concrete surface will be covered using a wet gaudy bag. The purpose of this method is to prevent the concrete surface from losing water and to ensure that the concrete surface is protected from the occurrence of prolonged damage. The selection of the cover used to cover the concrete surface should be correct. Black sheet should be avoided from being used in covering the concrete surface as it has the potential to diffuse heat more quickly and make the surface warmer. As a result, the concrete surface will easily dry and lose water. Thirdly is membrane curing. Concrete membrane is a method of curing the concrete surface where the concrete surface will be covered by a waterproof membrane or sealing compounds such as bitumen emulsion, wax rubber, latex emulsion, water repellent, and plastic films. The membrane used can be produced either in solid or liquid form. This method of concrete membrane carried out to protect the concrete surface from water loss or prevent evaporation of water from the concrete occurs. The time taken to carry out this membrane curing method is 28 days to ensure the concrete surface is really strong. On this method, a liquid material will be sprayed on the concrete surface and subsequently the material will solidify and form a membrane. This material can be applied with a brush or roller, and they have 2 types of membranes, is oil-based membranes and water-based membranes, and the most popular type of membrane used in this method is oil-based membranes. Next is method of curing concrete by sprinkling water. Sprinkling water is a method used by spraying water on a concrete surface with the help of a pipe nozzle. In this method works to ensure that the concrete surface is always moist and not dry during the evaporation process. Water spraying will be done continuously to allow the concrete to be adequately cured. In this method, the sprinkler will be placed on the concrete surface at a sufficient distance to ensure the surface remains moist. The sprinkling method is an easy method to use in concrete curing as it does not require much energy. But this method is also said to be less effective because it is difficult to ensure that water sprays hit the entire concrete surface evenly. Lastly, curing by absorbing heat from pipe water cooling. This method is carried out by installing pipe in the concrete surface to absorb heat. Water will be distributed in the concrete and it will also absorb heat the concrete. This method is typically used when the grade of concrete used during construction is higher and the concrete is thicker. However, This method should be used with caution because when there is a sudden change in temperature, it can cause the concrete to crack. Therefore, the temperature of the distributed water should be monitored continuously. So that's all the information I can share with you all about the method of curing concrete. In conclusion, curing concrete is the process of preventing moisture loss in the slab so that the concrete continues to gain strength. Properly cured concrete contains enough moisture, about 0.44 grams of water, for continuous hydration. Curing of concrete should begin as soon as formwork initial setting time is removed and must continue for a reasonable period. There is several importance of curing concrete that can be explained in the use of construction, such as maintaining mixing water in concrete during yearly hardening process, preventing the loss of moisture from the surface of the concrete, and accelerating strain gain using heat and additional moisture. And curing begins shortly after the concrete is placed and involves maintaining the specific temperature of moisture for a long period of time. Many factors influence curing time, such as weather condition. Concrete curing is very important to achieve full strength on the concrete or cement surface. For ensure the strength and durability of concrete is guaranteed, curing of concrete must be done with proper method. So that's all from my group about topic 1, and thank you.
My name is NURSYAKIRAH SAHARI, and today I'm going to explain about the topic 2 in Building of Technology Part 2. I'm going to start with the differences between the load-bearing and the non-load-bearing wall. First of all, the load-bearing is able to carry its own weight and other weights from above before transferring it to the foundation, while for the non-load-bearing wall, they are only able to carry its own weight. The load-bearing wall is very important in many structures of buildings, as if we remove it, the other structures will be fall. While for the non-load-bearing wall, it is easily being removed, as it is only act as a partition walls to divide the areas in the buildings. The load-bearing walls usually takes up more spaces on the floor, as it is thick, while for the non-load-bearing wall only takes up less space as they are just thin. Now, we will go through about the differences between the external and internal for load-bearing walls. For external walls, they are usually used in any domestic buildings or any small structures on 2-story high. Usually, the weight above are supported by this load-bearing, and most of the time, the external walls will be made of the natural stones or bricks such as cement bricks, clay bricks, or engineering bricks that can be hollow or solid. While for internal walls, they are usually in the building if there is an additional support needed to the buildings. So that is why the internal walls need to be super strong and stable. And usually, the internal wall will be standing on a concrete foundation. The internal walls are also made of cement bricks, clay bricks, or engineering bricks, like the external walls. But for office partitions, internal partitions wall, they are using gypsum board, and they are also sometimes using plywood as and internal partitions. There are few types of load-bearing walls, such as masonry walls, retaining walls, or stone walls. There are many more that we can explore. Moving on to the last part that I am going to explain, that is the differences between external and internal walls for non-load-bearing walls for domestic buildings. For external walls, they are typically made of blocks, bricks, or cladding. The framework provides assistance, and in addition, the wind-resistant cladding sheet is a requirement. Panel wall is the example, that is support each story by columns or pier. Now for the internal walls, they act as a partition wall, which they separate few areas in the buildings into few sections. Even though it's not strong or can bear like load-bearing wall, they should be supported properly of the buildings. The example is the partition wall. An internal wall design places less emphasis on weatherproofing and thermal insulation. The examples for the non-load-bearing walls are hollow bricks and bricks wall. That's all from us. Thank you.